Bruno. Penguin Random House presents Belt and Road, A Chinese World Order by Bruno Maçães. Read by Anish Nair. Preface. India and the Belt and Road. China has called India its natural partner in the Belt and Road, but views in India are decidedly cooler. In April 2018, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping met for an informal summit at Wuhan, the two sides agreed to improve relations and address the growing tension since the Doklam crisis almost a year before. The rapprochement came to be known as the Wuhan spirit. But since then, many have asked whether that spirit is still alive. Doubts have resumed. Mutual recrimination has not ended, and India's response to the Belt and Road is still riddled with contradictions and hesitations. In this book, I present India as, in some fundamental sense, the key to the Belt and Road. That has less to do with geography than with history. As two rising giants, China and India will play a disproportionate role in shaping the new world political and economic order, but like every claim on the future, their role remains ambiguous. In the case of China, the question is whether it will eventually measure up to the task of replacing the existing United States-led order with something new, or whether it will be forced to find a place, no matter how relevant, within the existing arrangements. It is a question to which India will provide its own answer. If the two countries are able to align their foreign policies, if their leaderships rekindle the revolutionary spirit that once brought them together, then the Belt and Road's chances of success increase proportionately. But if India decides that life within the Western order will be better than under alternative arrangements, the Belt and Road will struggle to meet its original ambition, as described in this book. Deng Xiaoping once said that Chinese policy should follow from these facts. America's friends were doing well, its enemies much worse, so China should be closer to America. Where should India be? A vivid illustration of India's strategic ambiguity took place in the December 2018 meeting of the G20 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Prime Minister Modi was first photographed posing with President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe during a trilateral meeting most openly concerned with China's economic and military rise. Hours later, however, Modi had joined President Vladimir Putin and President Xi in a second trilateral. This one could be summarily described as being aimed at the global order led by the United States and its allies. The second trilateral meeting was defined as a counterpoise to the first, and Modi managed to attend both, shaking hands and smiling with Trump first and with Xi later. In this book, I argue that India has much to think about in the coming years. Most immediately, the Belt and Road poses an economic challenge. The same reasons that push China into playing a greater global role. I investigate them in detail in this book. Explain why India may find itself increasingly constrained by the Belt and Road. Access to commodities and energy sources, control over significant markets, and the need to organize highly competitive and cross-border value chains. In all these cases, China is gaining the upper hand. Wherever the West has been retreating, China has quickly moved in. The question is, of course, whether there will be any space left for India. How will the Indian economy be able to move up into higher value segments of global value chains if it turns around and sees many of its fast-growing neighbors already incorporated into a China-led economic network. An enforced return to India's spirit of economic autarky haunts its future development. By investing in the Iranian port of Chabahar, India may hope to prevent an outcome where it finds itself isolated from the growing economies on its doorstep. But the limited scale of the project offers a vivid contrast to the mammoth scale of the Belt and Road. As opposed to Chabahar, the Chinese-led initiative is designed to fundamentally change global networks and move China to the center of a new political and economic order. It seems unlikely that 2 or 3 infrastructure projects can offer an adequate response to India's side, nor is the issue strictly confined to economic power and rivalry. For many commentators in South and Southeast Asia, the Belt and Road is an opportunity for China to entrench its naval presence in the Indian Ocean, as its state-owned companies build dual-use ports that berth its cargo ships and military vessels, and open its first overseas bases in places such as Djibouti and perhaps Pakistan and Sri Lanka. In a world where China and the United States will compete for control over key technologies, India risks becoming the market where the outcome of that battle will be a large measure decided, but no more than that. A territory rather than an actor. With its population soon to overcome that of China, and boosting an expanding middle class, India will be a coveted market for Chinese and American companies. Can it leverage that prize into political and economic influence? And if so, how should this influence be exercised? An awareness of how the United States and China both need India to realize their plans may well explain why Indian decision-makers prefer to dither and delay rather than provide clear guidance as to their role in the great game. Much can be gained by negotiating with both sides at once. But the hesitation is also connected to genuine strategic alienation. It is difficult to think that India could feel at home in the Chinese world order described in this book. But has it ever felt part of the Western order as it was understood for the past 7 decades? Hardly. This order, at its apex, coincided with India's years in the wilderness. It is not surprising, then, that many in Delhi regard the Belt and Road more as an opportunity than a threat. Here is how the argument goes. While in a Western-led order, India cannot expect to enjoy more than a secondary role, China's rise offers the exciting possibility of a genuinely multipolar, rather than merely multilateral, world where India can legitimately expect to become an autonomous center of geopolitical power. In this scenario, global power would be shared between 4 or 5 major powers: America, Europe, Russia, China, and presumably India. Starting from behind, India would play its cards well, but nothing in the nature of things would prevent it from becoming a power at least equal to a declining Russia. It's not a coincidence that this vision of India's future is not too distant from the way Russian authorities think about the problem of world order. Just like Russia, India would come to terms with the Belt and Road. The initiative would be accepted as the main lever opening the gates to a multipolar world order, but only under strict conditions, that India, or Russia for that matter, would be treated as a partner equal in stature to China, or at least formally, that its economy will reap immediate and tangible results from the association. right on cue, rush